Now at 10, the Joplin City Council hears a proposal from a local organization to conduct a study on better addressing homelessness. Plus, what new Census Bureau data shows about where Springfield ranks among Missouri's poorest cities. And the Art and Design Department at Missouri Southern holds a bowl sale as part of their De-Stress Fest.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The city of Joplin tonight approved a study that would look at ways to better serve the homeless community. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. That study would be paid for through the use tax. Doug Gamble from Watered Gardens says there are many factors that can lead to homelessness. He says it's important to listen to individual stories about homelessness to create solutions for problems. Apparently having some technical difficulties. I can tell you that Gamble says Watered Gardens has seen an increase in the total number of people experiencing homelessness. They've had 685 people stay at their shelter by the end of November. Joplin could get millions of dollars to help with storm and wastewater improvements. The city's eligible to get more than $12.5 million in matching state funds to help improve and update 9 projects. If Joplin matches dollar for dollar, the city will devote a total of more than $25 million for those 9 projects.
These are grants that have been approved and awarded to us should we find the resources to match them. So that's the whole charge. We do this all the time, but this is a large grant and a large amount of projects. So yes, it's going to be challenging, but it's all hands on deck trying to identify those resources to match.
The matching state funds would come from the American Recovery Plan. Kind of a damp night out there. Let's check in with Doug.
Yeah, it's definitely been a dreary day, to say the least. We had the patchy fog out there during the morning hours. Now we have drizzle and fog in spots once again. So the roads are wet, so be careful if you are going to be out tonight. 52 is our high, pretty close to where we should be for the beginning of December. High temps right around 50. Most of us now mid to upper 40s to near 50 degrees. Our temperatures, they're not going to drop back much. As we go through the next several hours, we're actually close to 100% relative humidity. You can see all the thick fog in southwestern Missouri, parts of Oklahoma. It gets a little bit thinner once you get out across southeastern Kansas. But we have the clouds continuing to rotate through. Not a whole bunch of moisture with it. It's just giving us the drizzle across the region. And this is what we're going to see tonight. Spotty drizzle lasting all night long into the morning hours. A bigger storm system a couple days away. We'll talk about that here shortly.
We'll catch you then. Authorities in Newton County, Missouri are investigating what caused this morning house fire on State Route E. Diamond's fire chief says the structure was being used for storage. No one lived there. The building was deemed a total loss. The chief says he could see the fire easily from 2 miles away and caused traffic disruptions until about 7:30 this morning. A not so flattering report from the U.S. Census Bureau on Springfield, Missouri. Based on average income and home value, Springfield is the poorest city in Missouri. That's for all towns with a population above 25,000. Reporter Joe Hickman has a look at the numbers and the reaction from a nonprofit group that deals with poverty issues every day.
Based on the U.S. Census Bureau's 2020 American Community Survey of 28 Missouri cities with a population of at least 25,000, Springfield is the poorest city in Missouri. With an average household earning of just over $37,000 a year, Springfield ranks far below the statewide median household income of just over $57,000. And while a typical home in Springfield is valued at $122,000, a typical home elsewhere in the state is worth $40,000 more. Holly Melton and Amy Blansett run the Drew Lewis Foundation, a nonprofit named in honor of Amy's late husband that helps financially struggling families.
Numbers show that nearly 40% of Springfield is probably living paycheck to paycheck. So the person who's sitting next to you at church, or probably your coworker, is struggling. They just aren't talking about it or showing it.
Based at the old Fairbanks Elementary School, the foundation offers classes like RISE, which stands for Reaching Independence Through Support and Education, teaching people how to escape generations of living in poverty, with classes in
financial literacy, parenting skills, nutrition, and life skills like setting healthy boundaries.
Research shows that individuals who have more connections are more likely to move out of poverty. And that's really what we're doing here. But first you have to have advocacy and empowerment, and you have to believe that you have the self-worth.
They have the ability, they just don't know it yet, to get themselves out of the generational poverty situation.
Another major foundation program is the Blue House Project, where they buy nuisance properties in the Grant Beach neighborhood and refurbish them.
So one of the houses that we bought was known as a drug house. It's amazing, just changing that one house affects the neighbors next to it. It affects people down the block.
And while the foundation says it appreciates local legislators who have recognized Springfield's financially struggling families,
We've been really lucky that individuals have been fighting to bring money back to Springfield to answer this exact issue.
they say more needs to be done to help.
We have to find ways to advocate for better work, for better benefits. Maybe it's flexibility to work from home so that you have less childcare expense, but there has to be something that our community leaders can come together and resolve for our community members.
The Spire Natural Gas Company is expanding some financial assistance programs for Missouri customers. The Payment Partner Program matches payments toward past due amounts for people who qualify. Currently, that program is only for customers making up to 200% of the federal poverty level. Beginning later this month, that should be available for customers making up to 300% of the poverty level. Spire's Critical Medical Needs Program will assist customers experiencing a medical emergency and suspend potential disconnection of their service for up to 30 days. Spire will provide financial support for this assistance network along with other utilities in partnership with United Way. The program requires certification from a healthcare provider or caseworker and is targeted to launch in March of next year.
So what we wanted to do was to be able to offer more assistance dollars to more people to help them out if they're finding it tough to make ends meet.
The MSSU Ceramics program today kicked off their holiday student pottery sale. The event coincides with the De-Stress Fest before finals week and gives students the opportunity to learn and develop some new skills. Pottery for sale includes handmade bowls by the students in the program just in time for the holiday season.
Oh, if I get a chance where I can just be making art versus pushing paperwork, it's a great joy. I can spend hours upon hours in the studio working away, and you just kind of lose track of time.
Some beautiful pieces as you see. That sale will continue tomorrow. A majority of the funds go to students, but some will be used for field trips, visiting artists, and purchasing tools and equipment for the ceramics program. City of Carthage today hosted its Christmas parade. Floats made their way down the Carthage Square as people lined the streets. The mayor also lit the city's Christmas tree.
It seems like Carthage gets excited for a lot of things. Maple Leaf, Christmas. I mean, we have the off the square. We're doing like the ice skating and different stuff. So they're doing a lot to kind of amp up Christmas and getting people out and getting the community involved. So that's been really cool to see.
Joplin will host its Christmas parade tomorrow starting at 6 p.m. Coming up, the Supreme Court hears a case regarding LGBTQ rights versus free speech. Plus, Georgia voters tomorrow will decide a Senate runoff race that could have wide-ranging effects on the rest of the country. The Supreme Court today took up another case pitting free speech against gay rights. At issue, whether artists and designers can be forced to state things at odds with their personal beliefs. Today's case involves a Colorado website designer who says creating pages for same-sex weddings conflicts with her religious beliefs. The designer's attorney argued she's an artist and, unlike other vendors, is protected by free speech. The Colorado Attorney General argues otherwise. Former President Donald Trump suggested over the weekend that parts of the Constitution should be terminated, his word, and have a redo of the 2020 presidential election. The social media post drew swift condemnation from Democrats and some Republicans, but many others in the president's party are waiting and taking more of a wait-and-see approach. The candidates in Georgia's runoff Senate race are making their closing arguments tonight. For those who didn't vote early, tomorrow is Election Day in the contest between the Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock and Republican challenger Herschel Walker. Georgia voters face a decision that will have far-reaching implications for our country. Skylar Henry reports from Atlanta.
Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock began his final day of campaigning with members of the Teamsters Union in Atlanta.
And I promise you guys, if you stand up with me just one more day, I'll stand up for you for the next 6 years.
Later, he held a rally at Georgia Tech, urging students to get out to vote.
It was really exciting, lots of momentum and energy. Yes. Very motivating.
Republican challenger Herschel Walker continued his Evict Warnock bus tour Monday, stopping at a restaurant in Flowery Branch, Georgia, and a pool hall in Dawsonville.
Now we're working on turnout.
Walker needs big turnout to win.
The way the government's going right now in the wrong direction, we need somebody that's got our back.
Though Democrats will control the next Senate, a Warnock win would give the party more leverage in deciding the makeup of key committees, an easier path to confirming judges, and more wiggle room in close votes. Georgia election officials say more than a quarter of active voters in the state have already cast ballots in early voting. But there are concerns about turnout because of heavy rain in the forecast. Georgia's senior senator, Democrat John Ossoff, says Georgians are used to obstacles.
Even last week, when made to wait in line for 2 or 3 hours to vote, I have seen how determined Georgians are to exercise their constitutional rights.
He believes they'll show up on Tuesday. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Atlanta.
In a survey, 3,200 Georgia voters following the general election. The Associated Press found that Warnock won 90% of black voters. Walker won 68% of white voters. A new study in the journal Pediatrics confirms the use of non-approved sleep services and soft bedding does increase the chance of suffocation among infants, but not unexplained infant deaths. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends babies should sleep alone on their backs on a non-inclined surface without soft pillows, toys, or bedding for their safety. Disgraced former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried is suggesting he'll testify before the House Financial Services Committee. In a tweet, Bankman-Fried indicated he'll do so after he's finished learning and reviewing the events that led to the collapse of his cryptocurrency exchange. The House committee is expected to hold a hearing next week. And if you feel you don't get enough time away from work, well, there's a reason for that. The U.S. ranked second to worst in the world when it comes to how much paid vacation workers get, besting only Micronesia. That's according to an analysis by Resume.io, which reviewed data from close to 200 countries. And found Americans only receive on average 10 paid vacation days, which has a direct impact on work-life balance. On the other end of the spectrum, Iran came in first place, where on average employees get 53 paid vacation days per year. A little bit later, legendary Webb City High School football coach John Roderick calls it a career.
Plus, we have more rain in the forecast as we go through the week. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, of course, a dreary day for us today. We had the morning fog, the drizzle kind of on and off throughout the day, and we continue that trend right on into the overnight hours for us tonight. But you can see our temps very consistent. Most of the day and yesterday, we sat right around 50 degrees, which is actually where we should be for the beginning of December. All right, a little bit cooler in northern counties. Iola 42, 46 Neodesha. We have Pittsburgh 46, 46 in Monette. Still some 50s. Once you get into our southern counties, Grand Lake, Jay, Anderson, Bentonville, Bonita, all sitting into lower 50s. But it looks kind of foggy out there. The roads are kind of wet, so be careful if you are going to be out. 49, northerly winds very light. Humidity is at 93%. Check out the fog. Not quite as thick on the Kansas side, but it really thickens up in northeastern Oklahoma, southwestern Missouri. So these are going to keep those visibilities on the low side, and we're going to continue with that drizzle through the overnight hours, overnight low down to about 47 later on tonight. A lot of clouds, not a whole bunch of moisture, meaning rain from this system, even though we are getting the fog and we are getting the drizzle, but it's so minute, it can't even be picked up by the radar, but we are going to continue with the light drizzle through the overnight hours tonight. Here's our next storm system. It's building out across the Pacific Northwest. This system will start to affect us late Wednesday night into Thursday. That's going to be a little bit more widespread rain. Should give everybody, or at least most of us, a chance for rain. All right, let's go through tonight. Here in a couple hours, midnight, some spotty little showers in our southeastern counties. Most of this is just drizzle through the night. Here's in the morning. You can see drizzle continues out there through the morning hours and then kind of tapers as we get into the afternoon. 57 for a high in Monette, 54 at Grand. But our northern counties a little bit cooler. Pittsburgh 46, Fort Scott 46, only about 41, 42 in Chanute. Tomorrow night the clouds stick. Drizzle should be out of here. And then as we start the day on Wednesday, we're going to start dry. Look at some showers increasing to our south through the morning hours. As we get into the afternoon, rain will start to advance in a little bit closer. So it's going to be pretty spotty on Wednesday, but Wednesday night, it really pushes in. We can have some heavy amounts of showers, even some thunderstorms. So here's 7 a.m. on Thursday, periods of rain through the morning, and then finally tapering off during the afternoon. All right, day planner on Tuesday, 50 to start, 53 by noon. We back to 46 by 5 p.m., high temp, right around 55. We have that drizzle tonight, then a little bit of a break, and then our rain chances spike up again late in the day on Wednesday. And tonight we're looking at about a trace to 1/100th of an inch because that's all the drizzle can really produce. But if we go all the way out through Thursday, rainfall amounts a lot heavier, especially along and south of the I-44 corridor. There could be spots that pick up 1 to 2 inches of rain. Let's go into Thursday evening. Rain finally gets out of here. We get a couple dry days on Wednesday and Thursday. Another pretty big system moving in by Sunday, which would be December 11th into the 12th. 55 tomorrow, 57 on Wednesday, 62 with rain on Thursday, a little bit of sunshine Friday and Saturday, and rain right back in on Sunday and Monday.
We need the rain. It'll be nice to see at least a little bit of sunshine come Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Thanks, Doug. Hey, don't forget, tomorrow is our second Toy Box Tuesday telethon of the year. Join us for our noon, 5 and 6 p.m. newscast. You hear stories about how the Toy Box program helps local families in need. Also, be ready with a credit card or debit card to call in and make a donation. All of your donations can stay in the county where you live if you choose. Again, the telethon starts at noon tomorrow right here, then resumes for our 5 and 6 o'clock newscasts. Still ahead, the Kansas State Wildcats earn a spot in a big-time bowl game against Alabama and the end of an era for Webb City High School football with the retirement of head coach John Roderick. Jacob Leonard has that and more up next.
Well, today is the end of an era for Webb City High School football. Cardinals head coach John Roderick has announced his retirement after 26 years leading the program. Roderick, listen to this one, 90% of his games as Webb City's head coach, collecting a 315 and 35 overall record. He led the Cardinals to 13 of the program's 16 total state championships and 22 district titles. Roderick was inducted into the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame last year. His retirement is effective at the end of this school year. Other football news here, former Oklahoma Sooners quarterback Baker Mayfield once again looking for a new home in the NFL. Carolina Panthers released Mayfield earlier today. The former Heisman Trophy winner was the #1 overall pick back in 2018 by the Cleveland Browns. He was traded to the Panthers this past offseason. Mayfield was 1-5 overall in 6 starts for Carolina, throwing 6 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. At the college level, the Kansas State Wildcats won a Big 12 football championship over the weekend, beating TCU in overtime 31-28. Now, they get a shot at a big-time bowl game. The Wildcats face Alabama in the Sugar Bowl on New Year's Eve in a top 10 battle. K-State is ranked 9th heading into that one. Alabama is 5th. Now, the Sugar Bowl, by the way, will be the first ever meeting between Alabama and Kansas State. The Pittsburgh State women's basketball team is off to a 2-1 start to MIAA conference play. Now, the Gorillas will be back in action on Wednesday on the road against Newman. And so far this season, the Gorillas are getting some big-time contributions from some younger players. Sophomore Corinna Gerber one of those players. So far this season, Gerber's averaging 16 points and 8 rebounds per game, including posting 20 and 10 in the team's first 3 conference games. And she credits her off-season work and getting a year of experience as a freshman for her early season success in year 2.
Being more physical, and I think just building confidence, getting more shots and reps was a part of that too. A lot of lifting and stuff to get stronger. Obviously, like, there's some pretty good posts in the MIAA, so I got to be able to hold my own ground.
I think we've been very intentional about getting her the basketball. I think the guards really trust her. Sometimes guards don't like to give it up, but I think right now our girls really enjoy giving her the basketball and watching her finish plays.
She's been outstanding. I think she has 3 double-doubles this year, and last week against Missouri Western, she had 20 points, 17 rebounds, 7 blocks. It was one of the best games I've seen from her so far in her career.
Wow, good for her. We'll be right back. Take time to honor a local veteran. Morris Allen served in the U.S. Air Force during the Korean War. The Mountain City, Kansas native was stationed in Korea. And we are proud to salute Morris Allen, a 4-state hero. What's this all about, this goblin mode? Well, if you embraced a bit of lethargy during the pandemic, you're not alone. In fact, that behavior has become such a phenomenon. It's inspired the Oxford Word of the Year for 2022, which is, as you saw, goblin mode. Oxford University Press says goblin mode is when you unapologetically, self-indulgently, lazy, slovenly, or greedily, typically in a way that rejects social norms or expectations. Goblin mode.
Well, the drizzle sticks around for us tonight. High temp in mid-50s tomorrow.
Morning show, 5 a.m. Let's make it a great tomorrow.